Hi. Before going to video, please subscribe to my channel for more interesting stuff.
Story from r/ghost stories. Posted by u/gala_xc4. The little boy. Hi all. So, I just wanted to share this experience I had almost a year ago, and it's a little disturbing. Although, my concern is why would it happen to me? And why did it happen to begin with? Anyway, to start this off, I lived in an apartment with my now ex-girlfriend. She would always get her paycheck direct deposited into our bank account every Thursday night around 11 p.m. to midnight, and I would walk to a nearby Circle K and use their ATM and take out some cash and get some stuff. Well, there was one particular night when I took that walk to get cash that changed my thinking about the paranormal, cause I never believed in it. I looked at our bank account info to see if it was deposited, and it was, so I went for my walk. There was this street I would take to get there faster, and I would always use it. As I was walking off the apt property to get to that street, I noticed that the street lights were turned off, so it was very dark, but the only light that I had was coming off the houses I would walk by. Something didn't feel right to me, like there was someone behind me, or someone staring at me, etc. It was kind of unnerving. But I made it down the street and walked to the ATM. So, I did my business and got the cash and stuff, and I would usually take the same way back home. There was this corporate building with a huge parking lot that I would walk through to get to that street I usually walk down, cause like I said it was a faster way home. Once I started walking down that street, I see a little boy on a plastic tricycle riding on the sidewalk, and once I saw this kid, he had to be like 9 or 10 years old. I passed by him and asked him where his parents are, and he just kept on riding without answering me. Very strange. So, now I feel like I need to do something about this. I mean, there is a little kid outside unsupervised and riding his tricycle after midnight on a school night. I became very concerned. I stopped and kept asking him where he lived, but he never responded to me. I almost called the cops. So, now I'm getting even more concerned. He kept riding along the sidewalk near the perimeter of this house that I would always walk by, and their lights were always on, so I decided to knock on the door. At this time, the boy was stopped right in front of this house and gave me a look like he was in trouble. A woman answers the door, and asks me, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Do you have a little boy, cause he's outside and riding his tricycle right now. It's the middle of the night and I'm just letting you know." She gave me this very cold look, like she wanted to punch me, or hurt me, like she was mad. Anyway, she told me to leave or she'll call the cops, so I left. Now here's where it gets very strange. The boy was nowhere to be found. He vanished. I would have heard him take off on his tricycle since it was a loud sound. He was gone. I started to think that this little boy was playing with me, but as soon as I got off the woman's property, a man came out of the house very upset. He was crying and asked me why I made his wife upset, and what I saw, so I told him. And I will never forget his tone and his demeanor when he explained that what I saw was the ghost of his son that died 30 years ago. He told me he was hit by a drunk driver on that same street, around midnight, when he was riding his plastic tricycle, and died instantly. At this point, I am freaking out. I apologized to the man, and told him that I am very sorry and to tell his wife sorry as well. The man walked back to his house and looked into the street both left and right, most likely to see if he can see his son, but shook his head and went into his house. So, I finally leave for good, and I'm scared and sad at the same time and very unsettling. As I was walking home, and got to the end of the street to get back to my apartment complex, I heard the little boy again riding his tricycle. I started to cry, and felt very sad. Like a sadness I've never felt before. It was scary. This is the only paranormal thing I've ever been through. I still walk down that street whenever I would go to the ATM, and after that encounter, the street lights were always on. I never saw the boy again. But if I ever did, I told myself just to say hi to him and walk away. I was never scared again, and after that I felt like nothing could ever scare me. I told my ex about it, but she never believed me, cause she knew I didn't believe in the paranormal and thought I was trying to scare her, cause she walked down the same street to go to work. To each his own, right? Poor little boy, I hope wherever he is, he's happy. Thanks for reading. Story from r/ghost stories. Posted by u/kida_. The Haunted Townhouse, Ghost, Demon. Sorry this is long but worth the read. Enjoy my ghost experiences from the townhouse I lived in from age 7 to age 14. When I was younger, around 7, my family moved into a townhouse, sandwiched between 2 other units. These townhouses were nice, and if I had to guess I'd say only 10 years old at the maximum. When we first moved in, my room was painted a dark blood red color. My mom and I hated the color, so we painted it over shortly after moving in because it made the room feel ominous. My room was then blue with white puffy clouds, and we installed a cute pink and green pastel ceiling fan. One day I was sitting on the floor, under the ceiling fan. I do not remember what I was doing at the moment, probably doodling or something 7-year-olds do, but suddenly the bubble light cover fell off the fan, which was not on and hadn't been at all that day, and crashed directly on my head. It shattered and covered me and my floor with glass. It left me with only a bump on my head luckily, but this was only my first of many scary encounters in this townhouse. The next came years later. I was now probably about 10 or 11 and my mom had hired a babysitter to watch me and my younger brother. When the babysitter got there, she sat on the couch and turned the TV on for us. She was in college and my mom had hired her from someone who recommended her via word of mouth. While watching cartoons, she was typing away on her laptop doing homework when we started hearing strange noises upstairs. She stopped and asked what that sound was. I told her that the townhouse was haunted. My brother and I were used to weird noises at this point. She didn't believe me until the noises got more persistent and she said she wanted to go investigate. We went upstairs where we were hearing the noises and she looked all around asking if there was a TV on or a radio, anything that could be making some sort of noise. We told her no and she said let's go back downstairs. On the way down the stairs, me and my brother went first and made it to the living room with her following behind. She got about halfway down the stairs and suddenly she fell. She tumbled down the stairs and popped back up off the floor as fast as she could, looking horrified. She called my mom, said she couldn't handle being in the house and left us kids alone to fend for ourselves. Later my mom told me that she claimed she had been pushed down the stairs by something or someone. There was point for a few years where my mom thought we were just making things up. But one night my mom said she turned on the TV and Scooby-Doo was on. She was scrolling on Facebook looking down at her phone when she heard the TV characters start speaking strangely. She said it sounded like they were suddenly speaking in tongues and the words weren't matching up with the characters' mouths and the tone of voice didn't change or pause when the frames shifted from character to character. From then on she started to believe, but she didn't tell us until we were older what happened. But of course being in a haunted house was fun for me because I thought it was incredibly interesting and loved the thrill of being frightened, so I did what any middle schooler would do. I invited my friends over and we played with hand-drawn Ouija boards and shouted Bloody Mary chants in the mirror. After this, things started occurring more and more and the situations got increasing worse. One night I was cleaning my room with my headphones on with music blaring at full blast and I heard my name being called. I took off the headphones and listened and again my name was called. It sounded like my brother, so I opened the door expecting him to be on the other side. No one was there. So I shut the door and went back to cleaning thinking he just got impatient and went back downstairs after I didn't respond. Then again not 2 minutes after my name was called again. I flung open the door and yelled what? No response. So I walked downstairs. No one was inside the house. My brother was outside riding his bike and my mom was sitting on the steps in front of the house. The next night my closet doors flew open at an aggressive speed and started to alternatively swing open and closed for over a minute. I cried to my mom and she said it was just the AC, but the swinging doors to my closet were heavy and I couldn't believe they could fling open that fast. Weeks go by and my friends are back at my house for a sleepover. We're all sitting on my bed when suddenly the whole mattress starts shaking back and forth and it felt like something was banging on it from underneath my bed. My friends were so scared they convinced me to go with them to one of their houses for the night instead. We stopped messing with Ouija boards and stopped making jokes about it because it was becoming too real to us. Things went quiet for a while, but then one day after school me and one of my friends were sitting on the couch in the living room watching TV when she started to feel uncomfortable. She said she felt like something bad was about to happen and she wanted to go outside, and I said okay, let's go outside then. We stood up and as soon as we did there was a loud bang from the kitchen and we went running for the front door. I got to the door which had a chain lock at the top and a normal deadbolt lock also. I flung the door open and it was stopped by the chain lock at the top. The door was open a sliver. I slammed it shut, adrenaline pumping, everything in my body screaming get out of here, go, go. And I go to open the door after taking off the chain and it doesn't open. I fiddle with the deadbolt and try again. Nothing. Again I turn the deadbolt and still the door will not open. Me and my friend were hysterically crying and I sunk down to the floor in front of the door in a fetal position, my friend still fiddling with the lock until she also gave up. We just sat there crying in front of the door that refused to open. Eventually after things felt calmer we opened the door first try and ran outside, and that's where we stayed until my mom got back home. From that day on my friends refused to come inside my house. And a few years later my family moved after new additions to the family and nothing like that has ever occurred to me since. No one had ever died in the townhouse. The new owners say they haven't experienced anything out of the ordinary. So did it follow us and now lies dormant, or did this spirit or demon just really not like us? You tell me. Side notes for those who are invested. My mom recorded a video of the Scooby-Doo incident, and when she went to show people the video it was gone, but she knew she hadn't deleted because she watched it earlier the day. When I got my first phone I decided to do one of those photo challenge where you turn off all the lights and take a photo with flash of your mirror, and I had taken a photo of something that was blood red and shaped like a man/animal creature, but it had no distinguishable features. I showed my mom and she told me I had photoshopped it. But the photo was taken on a flip phone with no apps or internet. I no longer have the phone or the SIM card, or else I would have included the image. Story from r/Ghost Stories. Posted by u/Outman Visited at night. A long time ago, my mom had told me a few stories about being visited by loved ones through her dreams and just seeing them regularly. But there's one that stood out to me when she told me. My mom got really sick and was close to dying when she was in the hospital, but she had an experience with my great-grandmother. When she was sitting in the hospital bed at night, my great-grandmother came and sat on the edge of the bed to tell my mom to keep fighting and to not let go because she had a kid at home to take care of and that they weren't ready for her to cross over. I've always kept this story in my heart because my great-grandmother was my mom's idol and it makes me emotional, but yeah. Comment if you'd like. Smile. Story from r/Ghost Stories. Posted by u/Ellen Marion. Haunted Mask. I bought an old 1950s Halloween mask at a flea market a couple months ago, and the moment I put it in my room there was such a strong bad energy in my room. It felt like there was a presence with me at all times in that room, and that I was constantly being watched. At night I kept thinking I could feel hands grabbing at me while in bed. There was so much negativity I got too scared to move around in my own bedroom in case I disturbed something. I took the mask out of my room and put it into a different room, and now all the bad energy I felt is gone. Haven't been in the other room I put it in since. Story from r/Ghost Stories. Posted by u/Turkish Immigrant. Has anyone ever experienced something similar in the past or current? I've had this story tumbling around in my head for a long time. And I honestly don't know if this is the right subreddit to take it to. But if it is, okay. I come from a really small town, like, population of 4'000. Well, I was in the second grade at the time, and it was nearing summer, so the work was slowing down and the teachers thought it would be nice to watch a movie with us. So they divided us up between 4 classrooms. I got to watch The Wizard of Oz, but during the movie, the power to the school shuts off. Whether this was supernatural or just faulty school wiring, I'll never know. During this power outage, kids were freaking out and the teachers decided to give us a buddy system. Every time one of us had to use the restroom, they'd take us there, wait for us to finish up and take us back to the classroom. Well, I got anxious and had to go. So what do? I sneak out of the classroom. Honestly, looking back on that, it was more than likely the teacher didn't give two shits whether I went or not, so I'm walking to the bathroom and I'm nearly there, when I see it, this black mass. It was easily bigger than the coyotes I've seen around our town before. It resembled an animal and it had these bright, wide eyes. I'll never forget it for as long as I live. I got so scared I froze, and admittedly pissed myself. It didn't even do anything, it just stood there, watching me. And as soon as I could, I ran back to the classroom and didn't look back. Seriously though, I want to know if anyone has had an encounter with a shadow creature like this. I've tried researching it but, nothing. I've never encountered something like this ever again since then. So it's not reoccurring if that helps. Any research prompts would be helpful, as I'd like to delve into this further. But, if anyone has ever had this type of encounter, I'll feel not alone in whatever that encounter was.
Thanks for watching. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe for more videos.